I pay over $1,600 to have these 3 premium travel cards so that you don't have to. And in today's video, I'm going over all of these to determine once and for all what is the best premium travel card of 2023. Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is having a great start to their summer. Now, when I think of summer, I think of traveling. And hopefully, some of you have been pulling down credit card bonuses as well as leveraging the right cards to start traveling for free with your friends and family. But if you haven't, you've come to the right video because today we are going to compare the top 3 premium travel credit cards in the space. Namely, that's gonna be the Chase Sapphire Reserve versus the American Express Platinum versus the Capital One Venture X, all so that we can, at the end of this video, crown a king for the #1 premium travel card of 2023. And as a quick note, even though we're gonna talk travel, and even though you're gonna get the most value if you use these cards for travel, I still think these cards can be used by the broad population because of the fact that elevated earnings, elevated sign-up bonus, it can help you save big money in your day-to-day, even if your main focus is not travel. However, for the purpose of this video, we're looking at it through a travel lens because that is where we can get some incredible outsized value. The video is gonna break down as such. We're gonna compare against 4 broad categories. That is namely sign-up bonus, earnings, benefits, as well as annual fee. And for every single category, we are gonna rate it on the scientifically rigorous and methodically tested scale of 0 to 5 JFTs. Also, right quick, small audience participation. If you have any of these 3 cards, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts before you finish the video, who you think should be the #1 card. And then when it finishes, circle back and let me know your thoughts. And folks, if you're interested to support the channel, feel free to check out any of my affiliate links for any credit cards that are gonna be linked down below. With that said, let's jump into the first section, sign-up bonuses. First up, we have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. This card has a sign-up bonus of 60,000 points after you spend $4,000 in 3 months. So taking a step back and give you all some context, 60 is about baseline for this card. 100,000 points is the highest ever. That was at sign up, and that was at the launch of the card back in 2016. Don't think we'll ever see it again. We've seen 80,000 points come and go for this card, but for the most part, it seems to baseline around 60,000 points, and so for that, I just give it an average 3 out of 5 JFTs. Next, we have the American Express Platinum. This card has a sign-up bonus that can range depending on how you look, when you look, if someone's giving you a referral, but it ranges from 80,000 up to a little over 120,000 points for spending $6,000 in 6 months. Taking a look at it, that's a pretty high sign-up bonus. If you can consistently get over 100,000 points on a sign-up bonus from a major bank, you're doing well. The only knock I have is you do have to jump through some hoops to get the best ever, but even still, it's not impossible to find a sign-up bonus of over 100,000 points. And so for that, I give this a 4.5 out of 5 JFTs. And finally, we have the Capital One Venture X. This card comes with a sign-up bonus of 75,000 points after you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. This card launched given a 100,000 point sign-up bonus back in 2021. Personally, I don't really see a huge incentive to get back to a 100,000 point sign-up bonus, so I wouldn't hold off for that. But still, even at 75,000 points, that is extremely high for the top tier category, and so I would give this a 4 out of 5 JFTs. Section 2, we have earnings. The Chase Sapphire Reserve will earn 10 points for every single dollar you spend if you book hotel or car rent through the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal, 5 points per dollar spent if you book flights through the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal, 3 points per dollar spent on travel, 3 points per dollar spent on dining, and 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. Taking a look overall, I say this is pretty solid. When I travel, what am I mostly spending on? Obviously travel goods, but also eating out. Yeah, you get elevated with the 10X and 5X if you book through the Ultimate Reward Portal. Not a whole ton of people are probably going to do that, but even still, I love the 3X on the dining and travel, and so for that, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 JFTs. Next card, we have the American Express Platinum. This card will earn 5 points for every single dollar you spend booking flights either direct with an airline or through the travel portal, as well as 5 points per dollar spent if you book hotel through the Amex travel portal, that's prepaid, and 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. Now, this is a card that I just don't really get. The fact that you have 5X for airfare and hotel through the portal, or 5X for airfare direct, 1X for everything else, but yet there's no other middle category. If I think about it, as I'm traveling, as I'm using the card, I'm going out and doing shopping, or I'm going out and eating food, I'm booking train tickets, but whatever it may be, it's just that I'm using my card more than just booking flights and hotel. And obviously 1X is great, but like any card can give you 1X. This one really boggles my mind. And so if I really think about it, this really comes in at like a 2.5 out of 5 JFTs. the 0.5 coming from the 5x elevated, and the 2 coming from the fact that there is no other earnings categories other than really just a 1x catch-all. And third, we have the Capital One Venture X. This card will earn 10 points per hour spent if you book a hotel or car rental through the Capital One travel portal, and 5 points per hour spent if you book flights through the Capital One travel portal, and 2 points per hour spent on all other purchases. Taking a look at this, I am also gonna knock Capital One for not having more of a pointed travel category. However, I will say, unlike American Express where it's 1x everywhere, 2x on everywhere is actually a pretty solid catch-all, but not having any elevated earnings for something that's more travel specific isn't gonna earn this card any additional points, and so I would say this is pretty much at baseline, coming in at 3 out of 5 JFTs. Next up, we have benefits. Now this is the part where really it's the potatoes and tomatoes of these cards, and this is where they really start to either pull away or not look that interesting. But there are some shared benefits that I'm gonna go over that all of them have. So the 3 shared benefits that all of them have are 1, transfer partners. You get the points either from American Express, from Capital One, or from Chase, and you can transfer them to a hotel or to an airline. And in the world of points travel hacking, that's where you're gonna get the most value for your points. The second shared benefit all of them have are airport lounge access, specifically through Priority Pass. So you get the card, you enroll in Priority Pass, they ship you another card, and now you can go to airport lounges for a free drink, free booze, maybe even a shower or a daybed in certain parts of the world, but all of the cards are gonna offer that at a base level. Number 3, all of these cards give you a credit to Global Entry or TSA PreCheck. What that is expedited entry back into the United States, or with TSA PreCheck, expedited entry through security, which trust me, once you get used to not having to take off your belt, taking out your laptop and just breezing through security, you're never going to go back. And all 3 of these cards are gonna offer you a credit to either or service. I recommend Global Entry because it comes with TSA PreCheck. But that's largely where the similarities stop and the differences now begin, where we can start contrasting the different benefits. We're gonna dive into the first card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and its benefits. Benefits for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The card comes with a $300 travel credit that you can use many times during the year. Swipe the card, as long as it's travel, it'll code, and you will get a statement credit for it. The card also comes with a 50% bonus if you take your points and redeem them through the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal. So those 60,000 points we mentioned earlier, if you redeemed all of them through the Ultimate Reward Portal, they'd actually be worth closer to $900 in total, I guess, travel value. With the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you also get access to Sapphire lounges. Now, there aren't a ton around the country, but they are opening them pretty rapidly. And in my home city of Boston, they actually just opened one a few months back, and there's one currently now open in Austin as well. What's also nice about lounges, when you have a Chase Sapphire Reserve, you'll get Priority Pass. You get them with all the creds. However, with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, this Priority Pass actually gives you access to restaurants. So instead of having to just go to a lounge, you can actually go to certain restaurants that are part of Priority Pass, and you will actually get a credit in order to buy food. And so for me in Boston, if I'm flying out of Terminal B or E, I get access to Stephanie's that gives me a $28 credit. And if I bring a guest, they also get a $28 credit. I actually really like that because sometimes I don't want to go into a lounge, and also oftentimes restaurant food beats the lounge food, at least domestically here in the United States. And the restaurant benefit is only available to Priority Pass guests who get the Priority Pass through the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The card also has a ton of partner benefits. The one I do want to highlight here is 10x earnings on Lyft, and you get free Lyft Pink. And when traveling, oftentimes we're gonna have to book car rentals. Well, if you book your car rental using the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you can actually decline the rental insurance we try to sell you because the Chase Sapphire Reserve comes with primary car rental insurance. Taking a look at all these benefits, they are amazing, and especially the $300 travel credit, which I would argue is one of the easiest ones to use in the game because you swipe your card, if it codes as travel, you get the credit back. In addition, the 50% bonus boost through the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal is amazing. I personally have 1.6 million Chase Ultimate Reward points. If I just took those points and just booked travel through the Ultimate Reward Travel Portal, that's close to about $22,000 worth of value. Overall, I would give the Chase Sapphire Reserve for the benefits section a 4 out of 5 JFTs. Next, we have the American Express Platinum. And when it comes to benefits for the American Express Platinum, this card is loaded. This card will offer you a $300 credit to Equinox, a $300 credit to SoulCycle for purchasing a bike. Fortunately, that's only one time. You will get a $240 entertainment credit, a $200 credit to Uber or Uber Eats, a $200 credit to airline incidentals throughout the year, a $189 credit to Clear Plus, $155 credit to Walmart Plus, and a $100 credit to Saks, which is used biannually, meaning $50 for 6 months, $50 back 6 months. Wow. I mean, this thing is absolutely loaded to the brim with credits. This card also gives you some phenomenal access to lounges apart from the Priority Pass lounge network. So American Express actually has their own lounges similar to Chase. However, they have a ton more all around the country. They're known as the Centurion lounges. And honestly, I would argue these are some of the best domestic lounges in America, period. And all you need to do to gain access, doesn't matter what class of cabin you're flying, you just have to show your American Express Platinum card. You'll also get access to Delta Sky Club lounges if you're flying Delta, as long as you have an American Express Platinum card. And one of the more lesser known lounge network access that I see people talk about, but I think is phenomenal, is you can get access to Lufthansa's business or senator lounges as long as you're flying an airline within the Lufthansa group, regardless of class of service. So you could be flying economy on a Lufthansa flight, but you can get access to their business lounge as long as you have an Amex Platinum. That is incredible. And just by holding the American Express Platinum, you're gonna get status. Now, I'm not talking about the pinky in the air status, but actual like usable status at 2 hotels, Marriott as well as Hilton, where you will get gold status. Full disclaimer, in the US, that's not getting you very far. But however, in Asia or Europe or South America, that might actually land you an upgrade. And 2 other benefits that I love from the American Express Platinum are return protection and purchase protection. Return protection. You buy an item, let's say you don't like the item and you want to return it, but the place you bought it from is like, no, we're not taking your returns. If that happens within 90 days of purchase, you can actually file a claim with Amex up to $300 per claim and up to $1,000 of claims in a calendar year. And one retailer that specifically stands out to me is Apple, which still has a 2-week return policy, which is crazy to me. The other protection I love is purchase protection. So let's say you bought an item, let's say again from Apple, and let's say they're AirPods, you go out for a jog, you lose one AirPod. Well, if you purchase it with the American Express Platinum, you can actually file a claim with them, because if an item is damaged, stolen, or lost within 90 days of purchase, you get coverage for up to $10,000 per claim, up to $50,000 of claim in a single calendar year. What I like about Amex is all of that is kind of almost condensed in-house, so the claims process is super straightforward, and honestly, the payout is really quick. Overall, taking a look at everything, the American Express Platinum is absolutely loaded to the brim with benefits. Yes, maybe not all the credits are useful, but all those other benefits are so travel-centric. This card, easily 5 out of 5 JFTs. Last, certainly not least, we've got the Capital One Venture X. This card has a $300 travel credit that you have to redeem travel through the Capital One travel portal, and it also has a $100 anniversary credit that you get every year just for having the card. The card also comes with lounge access outside of Priority Pass, namely in Plaza Premium lounges, as well as their own Capital One lounge. Yes, there's only one right now, but they are working to open up more. What I really like about Capital One's Priority Pass network though is the fact that you can technically bring in unlimited guests. I say unlimited in that this Priority Pass does not call out a limit of 2 guests, unlike American Express as well as Chase, but the lounge itself can still limit you. So you can go in and you can swipe in a family of 10, but the lounge can say, no, we allow 2 only. But they won't be able to say, oh, your pass limits you to 2. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a point of contention, but that's a unique one to call out. For the Capital Lounge as well as the Plaza Premium Lounge, you are limited to 2 guests only, like most other lounges. This card also gives you elite status at Hertz, which is pretty cool, I guess. You go pick up a car and you're most likely gonna get an upgrade. The card also gives you primary car rental insurance, so you can decline whatever they try to sell you at the counter. And what's cool to pair up with the Priority Pass of the Capital One Venture X is the fact that you can add up to 4 free authorized users. Unlike Chase, unlike American Express Platinum, where you have to pay for the authorized users, you can add a free authorized user, and the authorized user can get Priority Pass, and the Priority Pass, again, technically doesn't have a limit. That's a pretty cool feature of the Venture X. Only other card with free authorized users additionally is gonna be the Chase Ritz-Carlton card, which we're not gonna get into, but it's more difficult to get approved for that card. And then you also get some credits to these memberships listed on the screen here. Honestly, they're okay, pretty granular, pretty specific. The Capital One Venture X is solid. It does a good job of giving credits as well as some additional benefits that the other cards don't offer. It definitely falls short of the American Express Platinum, having so many credits and so many other additional status adds, but I'd say it's pretty much on par with the Chase Sapphire Reserve at a 4 out of 5 JFTs. And the final segment that we have here is gonna be the annual fee. Earlier I mentioned that I pay over $1,600 for these 3 cards, so they definitely aren't cheap, but there are ways in which we can reduce that overall cost because of all the credits they offer. So the first card we have is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. This card has an annual fee of $550. Remember though, there's a travel credit of $300. $550 minus $300, you're effectively still paying $250 a year for the card, which for some can seem steep, and I don't disagree with you. It is a little bit steep for what the card offers, especially if you consider what else is on the marketplace. So for me, I would say this honestly is like a 2.5 out of 5 JFTs. I feel as if there could be more credits put in place, And the fact that this card has been around since 2016, it only got an annual fee increase with no additional credits, I think there's some room for improvement from Chase here. Next up, we have the American Express Platinum. This card is the most expensive on the list, coming in at a $695 annual fee. That's hefty. But again, amongst all of the cards, it technically still has the most number of credits. The only caveat with the credits is I don't think everyone is using every single credit every single year. And if you are, I think you're a subset of the population. So for me, I think a useful credit is the $200 Uber credit, the $100 Saks credit, and potentially the $240 entertainment credit. And so for the American Express Platinum, if I take out the useful credits and the ones most easily accessible to everybody throughout the year, you're still gonna pay anywhere from $100 to $200 every single year. And so for the American Express Platinum, I would say this comes in a solid 3 out of 5 JFTs. I think this is a really good baseline in which there are enough credits in which you can really try to offset the annual fee. However, it's not moving higher than that because of the fact that, well, you've got to really try to offset that annual fee. And the third card here, the Capital One Venture X, comes in with a $395 annual fee. However, with the credits of what would effectively be $400 every single year, you actually come out net positive. Like the card puts $5 back into your pocket every year just for having it, which is pretty insane. This is the premium travel space. There really aren't cards more premium than these. Technically, there are 2 invite-only cards. We're not getting into that. And so for a card of this caliber to give you all of these benefits, and at the end of it, you can come out net positive is absolutely unheard of. And so for that, not just 5 out of 5, but I'd say this one breaks the scale, coming in at 6 out of 5 JFTs. So I don't know if you folks at home have been adding along or if you've been watching the video, but if you haven't now, would love for y'all to comment down below, hey, what do you think is coming in at 1? Give you a second and we're gonna dive into it. So coming in at 3rd with a total of 13.5 out of 20 JFTs is going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Honestly, I'm not surprised it came in so low, largely because of the fact that this card has been around for a while and Chase hasn't done that much to really spice it up. 2016 #1 travel card, and it honestly was incredible value, but for 6-7 years, it kind of has just been there. There haven't been additional credits added, there haven't been that many additional features, and so yeah, I could see why it's a little bit lower on the list. And now let's go ahead and switch it up a bit and talk about which card comes in at #1 for 2023. With a grand total of 17 out of 20 JFTs, it's going to be the Capital One Venture X, with the American Express Platinum coming in at 2nd with a 15 out of 20 JFTs. What really pushes the Venture X over the edge is the fact that the annual fee comes in at $5 in your pocket. The American Express Platinum for the right person can deliver a ton of value, but for the everyday person, I think you're gonna struggle to pull out every single credit without extensive spreadsheet tracking and thinking about how I'm gonna use it. And so for some folks, like, that's just kind of a pain, honestly. Like, even for me, like, yes, I have all 3 cards, yes, I use all 3 of them, but the Platinum is really one that I have to think about, like, okay, Equinox, how am I using that credit? Can I take advantage of the Soul Cycle credit? Okay, what about the airline incidentals? That's really the knock on the card. Whereas the Venture X, for the everyday person, if you're spending $400 a year traveling, get the card, you're gonna come out positive. That's largely it. And you get all of the bells and whistles of a premium travel card while getting paid $5. So folks, this has been a great video. Thank you all so much for joining me. And if you'd like to support the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you checked out my affiliate links down below. Of course, comments, questions, and I will catch you all next video. Peace.